The Spectator account of himself by Joseph Addison. Non fumum ex fulgur, sed ex fumo darelusem cogitat at speciosa dihenc Marciola promat harse. He does not lavish at blaze his fire, sudden to glare and in a smoke expire, but rises from a cloud of smoke to light, and pours his specious miracle to Saint Francis. I have observed that a reader seldom peruses a book with pleasure till he knows whether the writer of it be a black or a fireman of a mild or choleric disposition, married or bachelor, with other particulars of the like nature that conduce very much to the right understanding of an author. To gratify this curiosity, which is so natural to a reader, I designed this paper and my next as prefatory discourses to my following writing, and shall give some account in them of the several persons that are engaged in this work, as the chief trouble of complying, digesting, and correcting will fall to my share. I must do myself the justice to open the work with my own history. Early life, I was born to a small hereditary estate which, according to the tradition of the village where it lies, was bounded by the same hedges and ditches in William the Conqueror's time that it is at present, and has been delivered down from father to son, whole and entire, without the loss or acquisition of a single field or meadow. During the space of 600 years, there runs a story in the family that when my mother was gone with child of me about 3 months, she dreamed that she was brought to bed of a judge, whether this might proceed from a law suit which was then depending in the family, or my father's being a justice of the peace. I cannot determine, for I am not so vain as to think it presaged and dignity that I should arrive at in my future life. Though that was the interpretation which the neighborhood put upon it. The gravity of my behavior at my very first appearance in the world, and all the time that I circuit seemed to favor my mother's dream, for as she has often told me, I threw away my rattle. Before I was 2 months old, and would not make use of my coral till they had taken away the bells from it. As for the rest of my infancy, there being nothing in it remarkable, I shall pass it over in silence. I find that during my non-age, I had the reputation of a very solemn youth, but was always a favorite of my schoolmaster, who used to say that my parts were soiled and would wear well. I had not been long at the university before I distinguished myself by a most profound silence, for during the space of 8 years, excepting in the public exercise of the college, I scarce uttered the quantity of 100 words, and indeed do not remember that I ever spoke 3 sentences together in my whole life. Whilst I was in this learned body, I applied myself with so much diligence to my studies that there are very few celebrated books, either in the learned or modern tongues, which I am not acquainted with. Foreign tour. Upon the death of my father, I was resolved to travel into foreign countries and therefore left the university with the character of an odd, unaccountable fellow that had a great deal of learning, if I would but show it. An insatiable thirst after knowledge carried me into all the countries of Europe in which there was anything new or strange to be seen. Nay, to such a degree was my curiosity raised, that having read the controversies of some great men concerning the antiquities of Egypt, I made a voyage to Grand Cairo on purpose to take the measure of pyramid. And as soon as I had set myself right in that particular, returned to my native country with great satisfaction. I have passed my later years in this city, where I am frequently seen in most public places, though there are not above half a dozen of my select friends that know me, of whom my next paper shall give more particular account. There is no place of general resort wherein I do not often make my appearance. Sometimes I am seen thrusting my head into a round of politicians at wheels and listening with great attention to the narratives that are made in those little circular audience. Sometimes I smoke a pipe at child's, and whilst I seem attentive to nothing but the postman, overheard the conversation of every table in the room. I appear on Sunday nights at St. James Coffee House and sometimes join the little committee of politics in the inner room as one who comes there to hear and improve. My face is likewise very well known at the Grecian, the Coquetry, and in the theatre both of Drury Lane and the Haymarket. I have been taken for a merchant upon the exchange for above these 10 years, and sometimes pass for a Jew in the assembly of stock jobbers at Jonathan's. In short, wherever I see a cluster of people, I always mix with them, though I never open my lips but in my own club. Thus I live in the world rather as a spectator of mankind than as one of the species, by which means I have made myself a speculative statesman, soldier, merchant, and artisan, without ever meddling with any particular part in life. I am very well versed in the theory of a husband or father, and can discern the errors in the economy, business, and diversion of others better than those who are engaged in them, as standards by discover plots which are apt to escape those who are in the game. I never espoused any part with violence, and am resolved to observe an exact neutrality between the Whigs and Tories, unless I shall be forced to declare myself by the hostilities of either side. In short, I have acted in all the parts of my life as a look-on, which is the character I intend to preserve in this paper. I have given the reader just so much of my history and character as to let him see I am not altogether unqualified for the business I have undertaken. As for other particulars in my life and adventures, I shall insert them in following papers as I shall see occasion. In the meantime, when I consider how much I have seen, read, and heard, I begin to blame my own taciturnity, and since I have neither time nor inclination to communicate the fullness of my heart in space, I am resolved to do it in writing and to print myself out, if possible, before I die. I have been often told by my friends that it is pity so many useful discoveries which I have made should be in the possession of a silent man. For this reason, therefore, I shall publish a sheet full of thoughts every morning for the benefit of my contemporaries, and if I can any way contribute to the diversion or improvement of the country in which I live, I shall leave it when I am summoned out of it, with the secret satisfaction of thinking that I have not lived in vain. Object of writing. There are three very material points which I have not spoken to in this paper, and which for several important reasons I must keep to myself at least for some time. I mean an account of my name, my age, and my lodging. I must confess I would gratify my reader in anything that is reasonable, but as for these three particular, though I am sensibly they might tend very much to the embellishment of my paper, I cannot yet come to a resolution of communicating them to the public. They would indeed draw me out of that obscurity which I have enjoyed for many years, and expose me in public place to several salutes and civilities, which have been always very disagreeable to me. For the greatest pain I can suffer is the being talked to and being started at. It is for this reason, likewise, that I kept my complexion and dress as very great secrets, though it is not impossible but I may make discoveries of both in the progress of the work I have undertaken. After having been thus particular upon myself, I shall in tomorrow's paper give an account of those gentlemen who are concerned with me in this work, for as I have before intimated, a plan of it is laid and concerted, as all other matters of importance are, in a club. However, as my friends have engaged me to stand in the front, those who have a mind to correspond with me may direct their letter to the Spectator at Mr. Buckley's in Little Britain. For I must further acquaint the reader that though our club meets only on Tuesday and Thursday. We have appointed a committee to sit every night for the inspection of all such papers as may contribute to the advancement of the public weal.